Hello. Hello, good morning. Bonjour tout le monde. I have just left the party office where I deposited my papers to be an official candidate in the upcoming leadership race. And thanks to the hundreds of volunteers who have raised their hands across this country, paid that initial deposit, and am officially a candidate for the upcoming Liberal leadership race. And I just want to say a huge thank you to the hundreds of people across this country who have raised their hand and said, I'm in. It has been 2 weeks since I decided to join this race, and in 2 weeks we have built a national organization, heard from people right across the country who tell me that they are rejoining the Liberal Party or joining the party for the first time because they're excited about my candidacy. And what I hear over and over and over again is that what I offer is hope for the future. And so I have to say thank you to all of those people who've raised their hand. And remember, the deadline to join the membership for the Liberal Party to vote in the upcoming Liberal leadership race is January 27th. Commit to vote for me at karinagould.ca and make a donation. Because I don't have deep pockets. The people who are standing up and saying they're going to support me are everyday Canadians who are giving $10, $25 that makes a difference. This is a grassroots, people-powered campaign, and I am so excited to have so many people across this country on board. And I'm here today at the party office, not just to deposit my papers, but also because we need a Liberal Party of Canada for the next generation. The Liberal Party of Canada is more than one person. It's the thousands of Canadians across this country who have raised their hands to say that they want to build a better country. I joined the Liberal Party of Canada when I was 14 years old. I attended my first policy convention when I was 17. I've been with the Liberal Party through the ups and through the downs. But one thing that I can say for certain is that the incredible Canadians that have joined the Liberal Party of Canada over the years do it because it is their way to contribute to a better country. It's their opportunity to have the great debates about the kind of country that we want to be. And I want to make sure that the Liberal Party of Canada works for its membership. I've heard from too many people across this country that the Liberal Party of Canada hasn't given members the space that they need. And so I'm here today to propose 3 things to make the Liberal Party of Canada about the members and give power back to our membership. First and foremost, we need to get together more, and I'm going to bring back policy conventions. We've been talking at you for too long. It's time for the Liberal Party of Canada to listen to our members once again. I remember attending regional meetings and national conventions where we had great debates on the convention floor. We need to get back to that because the people across this country who join our party do so because they have things to say and they have ideas to share. And so I want to hear from you. I want us to be that big red machine, not just in terms of knocking on doors, which of course is incredibly important, but in terms of the ideas that you are bringing forward to make our country the amazing place that it is. And as leader, I would be committed to meeting on an annual basis with all EDA presidents across the country. I also think it's time for us to decentralize the party. Ottawa doesn't know best. We need to empower our regions, our provinces, our people on the ground who are the eyes and ears that hear from our communities. One of the reasons why I think we lost touch over the past couple of years is because we weren't listening to our membership. You were talking to your neighbors, you were hearing from people across the country, and you were telling us what we needed to focus on. And we got too focused on being government in Ottawa and not enough on what was happening on the grounds in our communities. I want to make sure that we have more field organizers in every region across the country, and not just on the ground, but digitally as well. We ran an excellent campaign in 2015, but it's 2025 now, and we need to adapt to the current situation and make sure that we can campaign in 2025 and for years to come. And finally, I would make sure that we are empowering young Liberals in this country and bring back the National Youth Director position. Young Liberals have always been a force in our party, and we need to make sure that you have the respect and the space to be that force once again. When I think about where Canada is today, I know that young people in general feel disenfranchised. They're worried about the future. And I'm here to say to all young Canadians, I get it, I understand, but I need your ideas, I need your energy, because you are going to keep propelling us forward.
You said in your video that Canadians have lost trust in your party. So what specifically did your party do? What policies did it put in place that made Canadians, made the party lose trust?
Yeah, look, I think we have to be honest about the fact that Canadians have lost trust in our party. And part of it is because I don't think we responded to the issues that they were telling us mattered to them. I think when it came to the end of the pandemic and the spike in inflation, Canadians were saying things are really hard. And we didn't say, you're right. We didn't say, yeah, things are really hard right now and here's how we're going to fix it. It took us too long to understand that Canadians were struggling to make ends meet. And instead of taking a moment and listening to Canadians, we said, here's all the great things that we're doing for you. And I don't think that was the right approach. When mortgages were going up, when rents were going up, when groceries were going up, we didn't respond quickly enough to the areas where Canadians were struggling. And I think we have to do a better job of that.
So it's a communications problem, not a policy problem?
No, it's both of those things, because it's not just communications. You have to have policies that respond to where Canadians are at. And we didn't respond quickly enough to where Canadians were. We got there eventually, but Canadians had been saying to us, we're struggling and we need help. And it took us too long to listen to what they were saying to.
If you really said that you would roll back the policy on capital gains, what would you do?
So look, I don't think we got the capital gains tax increase right last year. I'm having lots of conversations with the tech sector, with folks that are affected by it, to try and figure out what we can do to encourage growth and have more entrepreneurship here in Canada. So I'll have more to say on that in the coming days.
Who do you think in the Minister Party? Two of you are in cabinet, one is not. So why are so many of your cabinet colleagues endorsing Mr. Fenn?
Oh, that's a great question for my cabinet colleagues. But what I can tell you is that the Liberal leadership is decided by the membership. And I have, full respect for my cabinet colleagues, for colleagues in caucus, and I, encourage them to endorse whoever they decide to. But let's recall that the leadership of the party is decided by the membership. And what I am hearing from the membership across the country is how excited they are by my candidacy. And the fact that so many people are raising their hands, making donations, asking to volunteer is phenomenal. And unlike some of the other candidates, I've only been organizing for 2 weeks.
The GST break that's on certain items in place right now, is that something that you would continue or make permanent if you were elected?
I would make permanent a GST cut on children's clothing, diapers, strollers, and car seats.
Will you try to govern as Prime Minister, or will you call for an election right away?
I think it's a little too early to determine that. I think we have to understand where we are. Look, we are facing a potential trade war with the United States, and I think we have to know where we are on March 9th, where the country is, to decide where we need to go, because at the end of the day, whatever decision a future Prime Minister makes needs to have the best interests of Canadians at heart. And if we are in an extremely difficult position with the United States, having an election might not be the best thing to do at that time. But I think we have to see where we are on March 9th.
Why do you think that you can face Donald Trump, they can head on and fight for Canada and get a win against Donald Trump?
Because I face bullies in the House of Commons every single day, stand up to them and win. So I know how to stand up for Canadians. I know how to build a team that can do that, and I'm not afraid of a challenge.
Bill 21, what do you make of the Supreme Court today, and just personally, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. So look, we'll see what the Supreme Court says very shortly in terms of their decision. But what I can say is, while I absolutely respect the jurisdiction of provinces and territories, the role of the federal government is to defend the rights of all Canadians. And the Liberal Party of Canada is the party of the Charter, and our job is to defend the rights of Canadians. So I will see what the Supreme Court decides, but what I can assure Canadians is that as Liberal Party leader, as Prime Minister, I will always stand up for the rights of Canadians.
You would keep the current carbon tax at its current level?
Yes.
You wouldn't scrap it?
Correct.
Come to all of these, like you've been in cabinet, you could have brought your defense and spoken out about this at any time.
Yeah.
So why should Canadians or people who might vote for you trust and believe you now when there was no sign of advocacy against these proposals then?
Well, we have something called cabinet confidence, and so what happens in cabinet stays in cabinet, but I can say that I have been true to my positions throughout.
Ms. Freeland resigned after delivering the feds. What is the
Sorry, could you repeat that? I can't hear you.
Freeland resigned from her job as finance minister. You have delivering the feds. What do you think of when she resigned, and how did it unfold after that eventually?
Well, look, as the government House leader at the time, I felt that it was only the responsible thing to continue to deliver the fall economic statement. I mean, as the government of Canada, we have a fiduciary responsibility to Canadians and to markets at that time. And so despite the chaos that could have ensued because of that day, I took the decision to say that we have to do this because markets and Canadians are expecting it. Of course, I didn't write the fall economic statement, and like everybody else, saw it at the same time, but felt that it was important for stability and for calm to make sure that that was presented, and that's why I did it.
If you win a Liberal leadership, would you let Han Dong back into the Liberal caucus and let him run the Liberal panel?
I have to decide every single person that is there, and I would have to make a decision at a later date.
But right now, what would you think about that? There's lots of allegations about him, things was discussed in public inquiry. What do you think?
Well, I have actually not been privy to any of those conversations in my previous role, so I would have to learn about them at the time that I become the leader.
Just to pivot to reconciliation, which compared to the 2015 leadership race, it sounds to come up a lot. Just a quick check-in is the government website is about 31 boil water advisories still in effect, plenty of truth, reconciliation, and MWIG recommendations unfulfilled. What would your government do? Would you complete that job?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I was just speaking with former Chief Ava Hill last night at Six Nations, who, the community that's closest to me in Burlington that I visited a number of times and have developed a very good relationship with over the years. And, one of the things that we spoke about is my deep commitment to reconciliation and continuing on this path. I'm thrilled to have her support and to make sure that reconciliation is something that we continue to talk about in this Liberal leadership race and that we continue to talk about in the upcoming election. It is not something that we can let go of. This is such an important, I wouldn't even call it issue because it's broader than that. It's about who we are as Canadians and what kind of country we want to build.
You talked about the membership deciding this, and that caucus endorsements, I guess, are not as important. But a lot of those caucus members and cabinet members have big organizations. How do you get across that disadvantage? How do you get over that some of your cabinet members can bring thousands of new people to the party?
That's great. That's wonderful. That's good for the party. The more people who join the party, the better. And the greater debate that we have in the party is good for the Liberal Party of Canada. And so I encourage people to join the party who want to have a say in the future that we want to build. And then over the course of the coming weeks, it's my job to convince you that I'm the best leader for the party.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you.